Fox News Alert, we just got some of these remarks from Nancy Pelosi on jobless benefits, on extending them for up to 2 million people because they're running out beginning today. Congress remains divided over the issue. Republicans and some Democrats say they are all for extending these as long as it's paid for. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi arguing these benefits need to be extended no matter what the cost.
You hear talk about extending tax cuts to the wealthiest people in America. And those tax cuts, we are told, should not be paid for. $700 billion in tax cuts to the top 2% in our country. And our Republican colleagues say we should do that and we should not pay for it. We should add that $700 billion to the deficit.
Campaign Carl Cameron has been following this. He has more from Capitol Hill. Hey, Carl.
Anytime you hear a leader, Republican or Democrat, complaining about the other side and they want to bring up a vote and they aren't, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, maybe Nancy Pelosi doesn't have the health. There's a problem. The unemployment benefits expired last night, and over the course of the next few weeks, as many as 2 million people will now be losing their benefits. To extend them would cost $12.5 billion through February 11th of next year. They do these usually in about 3-month blocks. And Republicans say simply, in order to do that, there has to be offsetting spending cuts so the $12.5 billion doesn't get added right to the national debt. And Nancy Pelosi is arguing, sort of a non sequitur, that, well, Republicans are trying to extend the Bush tax cuts and they're willing to do that. Why not do this? The question is, why not bring it up for a vote? And the truth is, right now, Democrats don't have the votes because there are some fiscally conservative Democrats who don't want to extend unemployment benefits just like Republicans unless it's paid for, Megyn.
All right, Campaign Carl Cameron, thank you, sir. For more on this issue, I'm joined by Ben Ferguson, Icon Radio Network talk show host, and Nancy Skinner, also syndicated radio talk show host. All right, panel, so you heard Nancy Pelosi railing on this. Ben, let me ask you, because she's ripping on your side of the aisle, saying you want to give, the rich people a tax break, which would cost us $700 billion. Why not help the people who are unemployed for a little while longer?
Look, she didn't have the votes on her own side. That's who she should be ripping on. I mean, the reality here is you've got unemployment benefits that people have been able to get on for literally 2 years, 99 weeks. At what point do you say, you're at the point where either you need a reality check because you haven't found a job like your old one that you love, that you're making a lot of money, or B, you've just become lazy. And I think there's a lot of people that look at it that way as well. I mean, when it comes to trying to talk about it now, they could have done what they wanted to do in these tax cuts for the entire last year while they had control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. They chose not to do it because she had conservative Democrats that said, look, these people, they're the ones that hire, they're the ones that invest, they're the ones that use this money to stimulate the economy, so we're not going to make their taxes go up. That's why she never brought to a vote when she had the votes.
Nancy, what about it? Because, everyone has to feel some empathy for folks who are unemployed, can't find a job, and are facing the loss of unemployment benefits right before Christmas. Kids, a lot of families have children and so on, and yet we do have record deficits, and they've gotten record extensions on these unemployment benefits. It's never been done before 99 weeks.
Well, Megyn, not everyone is empathetic. In fact, Rush Limbaugh today said that they shouldn't be, that it's ignoramus to extend this. He was ripping on the AP. As a cactus, he was ripping on the AP report. An eel.
Well, he was ripping on the AP report, which is very one-sided in favor of the extension.
Because then that was his point. His point is stop giving these benefits out. Now, here's where he's wrong. Because this money, the people who have been unemployed this long, 8 million jobs, Ben, were lost in this. The longest and deepest recession we've had yet. For every dollar of unemployment benefits, you get $1.90 back. To cut that off right before the retail season, you're not going to hurt. It's just not the Who's and Whovilles that are going to get their drums. You're going to hurt all the big box retailers. You're going to take a full GDP
how long? Let me ask you this. I and everybody else agrees that when you're down and out, sometimes you need help. But 2 years is what we're talking about here. That's 1.5 years longer than the longest we ever had before this. So let me ask you this question. When is a good date? When is a good time? And after how many years do you finally put the blame back on the person, say, it may not be the job you want, it may not be the salary you want, but it's time for you to just go get a job instead of being lazy for 2 years?
All right, and let's just say for the record, obviously not all these folks are lazy, right? I think, Ben, you would agree with that. But some folks, listen, I know somebody who's on unemployment right now, and he's getting $400 a week. and he has a disincentive to go out there to a Starbucks or a Barnes & Noble
Absolutely.
and get a job because he won't earn $400 a week, and therefore he's intentionally not getting, he'd like to have a job that pays more, but he's intentionally not taking a job that would pay less because the federal government is sending him this check, Nancy. That's sort of the problem that folks are trying to get around right now.
Let me give you a solution to that. Because I think that there is a tiny portion of people that perhaps are so lazy that they'd rather sit on their couch.
Or it's not even just lazy, or just that's a financial decision that you make.
Okay, so then why don't we think out of the box here? Can I just finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's out of the box and take some of these unemployment benefits and say to a company, if you hire somebody who has been unemployed for over a year, then that money is going to go to you instead of to them. And so the dynamic a lot, but that is exactly, but you cannot just say those people are going to spend that money immediately. If you give these tax cuts to the richest,
Nancy, it's a great idea.
They aren't going to spend it.
Go ahead, Ben.
Nancy, it's a great idea. The problem is Nancy Pelosi doesn't like your idea, including the entire leadership who said, we just want to give these people more time to quote unquote find a job when a lot of them aren't looking. I've had people come to me with small businesses and say, hey, can you pay me in cash because I'm getting $350 a week and I don't want to lose that. I mean, are you kidding me?
Right. I mean, that's the problem. And yet here we are, we're facing, if we wanted to extend them till February, our brain room says if you want to extend them till February of 2011, it's going to cost us $12.5 billion. If you want to extend it all the way to the end of 2011, it's going to cost us $56 billion. And 800,000 people are supposed to lose these benefits by the end of next week. 2 million by the end of December.
$700 billion to the richest 2% in America.
Got it.
So $700 billion
has nothing to do with the issue.
Okay, got it. Ben, Nancy, thank you both.